It's no secret that human evil has always been a source of dark fascination. The scale of evil is a reinterpretation of Dr. Michael Stone's Index of Evil, structured into 10 levels that seek to classify the degrees of malevolence in history's most notorious criminals. Each case is evaluated based on 5 key factors: sadism, premeditation, victim count, duration of activity, and manipulation. This is the scale of evil. Israel Keyes was a thief, serial killer, and rapist who operated across the United States from the late 1990s until 2012. His crimes were marked by their vast geographical scope and meticulous planning. He buried kill kits containing weapons and tools in various locations, sometimes years before he would use them. Traveling across the country, he would abduct and murder random victims, often driving thousands of miles to commit a single crime. He never struck twice in the same place and took every precaution to avoid detection. His reign of terror came to light after the 2012 abduction and murder of Samantha Koenig in Alaska. He was arrested shortly after, and during interviews with the FBI, he confessed to multiple crimes. Later that year, he would take his own life in prison. Beneath his mattress, investigators found 11 pages marked with skulls drawn in his own blood. It is believed they symbolize his total number of fatal victims. Keyes was a calculating, methodical, and sadistic psychopath who consciously chose to become a serial killer. The fact that he hid murder kits years in advance demonstrates a chilling level of planning and a readiness to commit acts of staggering cruelty. The crimes committed by Keyes received the following rating: sadism, 8 out of 10, premeditation, 10 out of 10, victim count, 4 out of 10, duration of activity, 8 out of 10, and manipulation, 6 out of 10, reaching a 68% malevolence score. Based on these factors, Israel Keyes is placed at level 7 on the scale of evil. Systematic evil. Keyes was an admirer of Ted Bundy and possibly sought to imitate him. His own modus operandi revealed him to be an organized, sadistic serial killer with clear psychopathic traits. While his true victim count remains unknown, investigators believe Keyes murdered a total of 11 people. Peter Kürten, better known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf, was a criminal responsible for a series of murders and assaults in Dusseldorf, Germany during the late 1920s. His crimes captured the attention of all of Europe, primarily because some of his victims managed to survive. They testified that their attacker would bludgeon them with a hammer or stab them with scissors, only to then drink blood from their wounds before fleeing. Kürten targeted women and children and would often strangle them. Fleeing the scene only after reaching sexual climax, he surrendered to police in 1930. And after confessing to a total of 9 murders, he was executed by guillotine in 1931, becoming one of the most unsettling criminals in international true crime history. Kürten fit the profile of a sadistic psychopath with severe sexual deviancies, having begun his criminal career by torturing and killing animals, committing arson, and carrying out various sexual assaults. Yet to the outside world, he appeared to be an ordinary man. His own family never suspected a thing. The crimes committed by Kürten received the following rating: sadism, 10 out of 10, premeditation, 6 out of 10, victim count, 3 out of 10, duration of activity, 2 out of 10, and manipulation, 3 out of 10, reaching a 45% malevolence score. Based on these factors, Peter Kürten is placed at level 5 on the scale of evil, functional evil. Kürten was obsessed with drinking human blood, and his crimes displayed an extreme level of sadism involving bludgeoning, stabbing, and strangulation, all to achieve sexual pleasure. Although he turned himself in, supposedly so his wife could collect the reward for his capture, he never expressed remorse for the murders he committed. Charles Whitman was an American mass murderer responsible for the infamous Texas Tower shooting. While he appeared to be a completely normal young man, he began to exhibit erratic behavior due to a brain tumor and amphetamine use. His mental health deteriorated to the point that he decided to carry out an indiscriminate massacre. In the early hours of August 1st, 1966, he murdered his mother and his wife with a military knife before preparing his assault. That same morning, shortly before noon, Whitman ascended the observation deck of the University of Texas Tower and began firing at random people below, sowing terror and panic. For nearly 2 hours he remained barricaded, opening fire in different directions until he was finally confronted by a group of police officers and civilians who made their way to the top of the building and shot him dead. The shooting claimed 15 lives and left dozens wounded. Whitman had shown no antisocial behavior before the incident. However, he suffered from terrible headaches, and in a suicide note, he requested that an autopsy be performed on his body, as he was certain something was wrong inside his head. Forensic examinations revealed he had a small tumor near his amygdala, a region of the brain directly linked to processing emotions like rage. The crimes committed by Whitman received the following rating: sadism, 3 out of 10, premeditation, 6 out of 10, victim count, 4 out of 10, duration of activity, 1 out of 10, and manipulation, 3 out of 10, reaching a 30% malevolence score. Based on these factors, Charles Whitman is placed at level 3 on the scale of evil. Evil for power. Charles Whitman acted out of a rage possibly triggered by his brain tumor. His decision to kill his wife and mother and carry out a mass shooting but not murder his father, with whom he had a troubled history, could be interpreted in a number of ways. For example, leaving him alive to live with the shame of what his son had done. This group demonstrates how sadism can manifest with different degrees of planning and with different underlying motivations. Keys represents organized and planned sadism, with murders driven by a need for control and domination, alongside meticulous planning that allowed him to commit crimes in different locations. Curtin demonstrates a sadism linked to a paraphilia for blood or hematophilia, with crimes motivated by his obsession with drinking blood and the pleasure of inflicting suffering. Whitman, in contrast, acted out of impulsive violence and the desire to cause massive, indiscriminate harm. Ultimately, evil is subjective, which is why I invite you to leave your own opinion in the comments below. Do you believe any of these killers belong on a different level of the scale of evil? If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it on your social media. It would help me a lot to continue creating this type of content. Remember to activate the notification bell to receive a message every time I upload a new video. In the description, you can find the links to purchase my books, Human Monsters 1 and 2, where I delve deeper into the topic of serial killers, and also my comic freak show, 5 Circus Stories. I also invite you to visit my other channel, The Unsettling Chronicle, a space dedicated to mystery, strange characters, shocking historical events, and other curiosities. The link is in the description. My name is Alvaro, and this is the Crime Channel.